Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Hope all of you are safe. So, all of us have a lot of time on our hands, extra time. So, yesterday I was just going through social media and I was going through my Facebook page, and there are a couple of different groups that I'm on. One is a very professional type of a group, and the other is a more personal family sort of a group. So, on this professional group, people were asking for recommendations to read books on organizational skills, behavioral management, and basically, developing team management and people's skills. And on the other, I noticed that how people were discussing that, how this whole social distancing has actually helped them realize who's important and who's not, and how they've been able to actually keep negative feelings and negative people at bay. And I noticed that this dichotomy of a situation is present in all our lives, that we're acing these people's management skills at work, but when it comes to relationships with people that matter, we're not so good at it. So we're all talking about being global citizens and being the best leaders and building great communities and global communities. But relationships with people who matter have changed to an extent that the definition itself of people who matter has changed in its own, right? And then I just thought that maybe we could talk more about this today, because actually that's happening all around us and we're all actually a part of that conversation. Today I think everybody is striving very hard to prove a point, and to actually not only prove a point but to also prove that their point is actually better than the other. And that's happening the most today with people who we are most attached with, because I think they also have the most potential to hurt us because of that feeling, that level of attachment, and the expectation that they will understand us the best. So there's a lot of expectation mismatch, and there's a lot of communication gap that's come into our lives today. And I think here lies the catch. As soon as you try and as soon as you expect that the other person will be at the same level of understanding as you are, I think that's where the problem starts. Because that's actually not possible until unless you really have your clones around. Because two people, siblings, parents living in the same household may have a very different perspective of things. May have a very, they may be polar opposites in terms of personality, character, everything. And I think you would have noticed that with your friends, with your bestest of all friends, with whom you've studied throughout school, your siblings, everybody. Because each one's mind has evolved differently, everybody has consumed different levels of information, and even if they've consumed the same information, they've chosen to interpret it in their own way, so their sensibilities are different. So everyone is at a different level and stage of awareness as far as their mind is concerned. So as soon as you start expecting from people due to the relationship that you have from them, I think that's where the problem starts, because you don't see them first as people. If you learn to see them first as people, maybe you'll be able to reason with their thought and their understanding differently. Because the more that you try to engage with that person's level of understanding, the more conflicted you will be on the inner side. And a lot of people I see, and a lot of memes actually I read on social media, where they're talking about how ignorance is bliss and how they're just able to cut off negative people from their lives. But that's not actually possible, right? Is that even possible to just cut off somebody, and especially people who you're attached with? Maybe you can do that on the outside and you can ignore, but you cannot resolve the conflict that lives within your mind itself. You cannot be at peace with that. So I think the best way is to see the situation as it is, because you cannot do anything about it, and not try and change the other person. Because to actually be able to do that, you'll have to change every grain of information that the person has consumed, because of which, their view has been shaped differently. So you literally have to change every set of belief, every set of principle that the person has, and for that you really need to change the whole system of the person itself. And that's not practical. That's not even possible in this practical world, is it? And learn from what you're doing right now, learn from your current situation. The best way is to choose the level of engagement you can have with that person. Aren't we doing all of that today? We're just sort of distancing ourselves from a person who might be a potential carrier of a virus. So we're maintaining that proximity, because maintaining that distance is in our hands. We cannot actually control what the other person is going out there and doing, but we can choose to be at bay. We can choose to keep that proximity, because of which we are safe. For example, you go out there and drive. You might be the best driver in the world and you might be the safest driver in the world, but there might be another person who might drive negligently and recklessly and might still come and dash into your car. What do? Do you stop driving? No. You still drive, but you drive safely and you stay in your lane because that's what you can do. Do you try and teach the person a lesson by honking at the person? The person might just honk louder and just leave at a greater speed, leaving you even more frustrated and angry. So, all of us as human beings will be angry, will be frustrated, we will be upset. But as soon as you realize that it depends upon you and it depends upon the level of engagement you choose to keep with that person's level of understanding, I think at that point of time you will be able to keep your expectations at bay. Because if you let something external affect you, if you let people externally change the kind of person you are internally, I think you will always be conflicted. Because changing yourself for the outside is not always possible, and if you keep on doing that, you will never be able to be a peaceful person and a happy person. So don't let external situations affect you, because you are the only truth and your control is only in your hands. You are the determinant of your circumstance, and the other person's sensibility, that person's level of awareness, that person's mind is the determinant of their circumstance. But what you can choose to change and what you can choose to control is yourself. This is not an ideal world. There are lots of rash drivers out there, and you still have to exist within them and around them. You still have to go out there and live your life. You just don't have to exist. You just don't have to thrive. You have to live your life. So that's the only way to do that is not to actually strive to make peace with everyone, but have peace within. So people, if you like this video, stay tuned in. We'll also discuss more on this because it's a very subjective topic. There is lots to speak on, different facets of what we've chosen to touch upon in today's issue. So we'll talk more on this. Stay tuned in, watch my videos, and if you like them, please comment and share your thoughts below. And thank you so much for watching.